Hey guys, it's Jason with the Boardgame Mechanics, and today we're going to head over to Toontown and we're going to take a look at a game called Who Framed Roger Rabbit game. Who Framed Roger Rabbit game is a game for 2 to 4 players from Milton Bradley. This is what I would like to call a vintage game, which means it's older than most games that people still play, and it's in one of these long boxes, you know, these like Monopoly sized boxes. And what you're doing in this is you are taking on the role of a character from the Roger Rabbit movie. So Roger, Jessica, Eddie, or Dolores. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to figure out who everybody else is, they're trying to figure out who you are, and you're trying to get out of Toontown, or the movie, I guess, with a copy of the will. If you can do that first, you are the winner. So that's enough talking about it. Let's go around the table, check it out. All right, so here's a game of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, all set up for 3 players. To set up, you're going to give each player 9 of these cards. And what you're going to do is you're each going to get an identity card. So I'm going to play as the red player, and I'm going to be Jessica Rabbit. So when you get your cards, the identity that you get, you're going to have 2 cards of each of these characters. So there's Jessica, there's Roger, there's Eddie, and Dolores. With your character, you're going to take both the cards of that character and then one of the other cards of each of the other character and your Judge Doom card, shuffle them together and put them on each of the stacks like I've done here. So I've already done that. You should have 3 cards left of the characters that you are not. So everybody's done that. You're going to get all 4 of the weasels. So you got Psycho, Greasy, Wheezy, and Smart Guy, and you're going to get a dip cannon, and then everybody's going to have that. There's also going to be some cards that are going to tell you what the special dice do, which I've laid out here so we can see, and everyone will get a sheet of the score pad, which I'm not really going to focus on a ton here, but this is how you're going to fill out to determine this is what you're going to use to figure out who people are in the game. Then you're going to take out, according to the number of players, you're going to put out a certain number of Jessica letters and a will. The goal of this game is to figure out who everybody is, or at least one person is, find the will, and then get back to your home space. So in this case, if red is over there is Jessica Rabbit, they need to figure out who somebody else is, find the will in one of these 3 locations, get all the way back to their home space, which is over here, and then they win the game. This game's pretty straightforward. It's a roll and move. So on your turn, you're going to take these dice and you're going to roll them. You have to move the number that's rolled on the white die, and you may then move the number that's on the red die. So let's go ahead and go. So red is first. So we'll go 2, 3, 4. I'll go ahead and move the extra one. And I'm going to investigate. So now that I've moved, when I'm adjacent to one of the locations that has cards, so in this case, the clear space is here, not on the road, not on the subway, and not on Benny, I can look at a card. So I'm going to look at the purple card. So Roger Rabbit. So I know that purple could be Roger Rabbit. So what I would do here is I'll go to purple and I will find Roger, and it was, which half was it? It was the bottom half of Roger. You can see it's colored. So the bottom half of Roger. So I'll fill that in. Purple, bottom. All right, now if I ever find both halves of a card, I know that that person is that character because that whole card, both pieces of that character are in there, but I don't know that yet. So that was red's turn. Now we're moving on to green. They can move 4. They're going to go ahead and move to Benny, so they'll move 3. Then they can move 1 more. All right, when you land on Benny, you're going to roll the Benny die. Whenever you roll the Benny face, you can move 1 space any way you want. If you roll to stop, you have to stop. So let's see what happens. So we'll move Benny. Let's go this way. Keep going. Benny. 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 All right, I'm going to stop because I want to investigate this area. And I'm going to investigate, since red investigated purple, or green, or red investigated purple. Purple's going to actually, green, I can't get these colors right. Green is going to investigate red. So green gets this card for red, bottom half of Roger Rabbit. So I'm using one sheet for everybody, but again, So, you know, green is bottom half of Roger Rabbit. Color that in as well. All right. Again, everybody have their own sheet. I'm just kind of showing you how the game plays. Then we'll do purple. Purple's going to roll. They get a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. They'll look here. They're going to look at red. So red, Judge Doom. All right. So when you find a Judge Doom card that's not your own color, so in this case, they found it, you can take it, put it over here, face up. That will let you shoot the dip cannon one time during the game. So everybody has one, but if you find Judge Doom cards, you'll have additional ones. All right, so that's effectively how the game is going to work. I'm not going to go through the playthrough a ton here, but then I want to show you some extra spaces. So I showed you Benny. I actually want to show you the subway. So you can get into the subway at one of the subway entrances. And when you get to the subway, you're going to do the same thing that you did with Benny. You're going to roll the subway die. Every space you roll, you can move one subway space. It's just a quicker way to get around the board. You know, you're going a little faster around the subway as opposed to, you know, all the single movements there. So that's the subway. So that's the movie. Once you do that, you can figure somebody out. You found both pieces. You can guess their identity. When you're trying to guess somebody's identity, so say I think, who is this player? So say I think green is Roger Rabbit. What I would do is I would take these 3 cards. I would pass them Roger Rabbit. They'll look at it. They'll say yes or no. If they say yes, then I get to start. I can look for the will. So what happens then is I'll look at one of these 3 cards and I'm trying to find the will. So let's see, I'll grab this one. So this is not a will, this is a Jessica letter, my dearest Jessica. Then I put it down. What I'm trying to do in the second half of the game is I'm trying to find the will. So I'm gonna move, I need to land on a will space, then I'll flip it. So the will is right here. So I know this one's not the will, so I could go here and then try to grab another one. But if I'm wrong, the only way I can look for the will again is to guess somebody else's identity. So you got to make sure that you're guessing everybody correctly so you can get that. Then when you get the will, so say I get the will, come down here. I need to get from here to the Jessica Rabbit location with the will. Now this is where the dip cannon and the weasel is going to come in. So when I have the will, everyone else is going to try to steal the will from me. There's 3 ways you can steal the will. One, if I'm in this middle section here, so say I'm in this middle section, someone can decide to play the dip cannon. They can either play one of the dip cannon cards or they can play a Judge Doom card. Then you're going to roll the dip cannon die. On this face, you're going to move the dip cannon 1. On this face, it doesn't. So say green wants to try to get me. They move it 1. They say I'm going after red. Boom, they got me. So what happens there is the will goes back. And then this player, the green player, we get to move red to wherever they want, so they're going to move them over to there. Any starting space. And then they have to try to go get the will again. Second way is you can chase somebody down with a weasel. So I could say, green could say, hey, I'm going to chase you down with Wheezy. You flip it. You get to use each of the weasel cards once. Unless you land on a weasel space, you can reflip one. The weasel starts out on the space that you're on, so green's there. Then you're going to roll the weasel die. You roll the die. If you get this face, the weasel moves 1. If you get that face, that's a bonk, and the weasel stops, and he's off the board. So let's go ahead and roll. So I got a 1. If I can land on the red, I got a bonk, so I was done. But if I could land on the red, the weasel would bonk red, the will would go back, they would go to a space, and then it comes off the board. Third way is you can just get your pawn moved over onto same space, roll the weasel die once. If you roll a success, you get them. If not, you get bonked, and you can steal the will that way. You're going to keep going like that until someone has the will, makes it back into their home base, and if that is the case, that person is the winner. That's how you play the Who Framed Roger Rabbit game. Let's go up to the top, see what we think about it. All right, well, that was Who Framed Roger Rabbit game. And yeah, this is a roll and move. It's a simple game. It actually, surprisingly, the setup is a lot more difficult than the game actually is to play. So that seems weird, but you know, you got to shuffle those cards. You got to put them on the spaces, learning what's adjacent, what isn't. Learning the game, setting it up is a lot more difficult than playing the game. Basically, everything is just roll. You go to a space, you roll. You want to hit somebody with a dip cannon, you play a card, you roll. You want to use Benny, you roll. You want to go to the subway, you roll. You want to chase somebody with a weasel, you roll. So that easy. You're trying to find cards, figure out who everybody is, find the will, get out of Dodge. That's the game. I'm not going to belabor this. If you like Roger Rabbit, you're probably going to dig this game. If you like roll and move games, if you like silly, simple games, you want a game you can play with your kids or your family or non-gamer friends, this is a game that's up that alley. Not BGM accepted, not amazing by any stretch, but just because a game is not amazing, just because it's not BGM accepted, doesn't mean it's not fun. This is a fun game. So, that was Who Framed Roger Rabbit game from Milton Bradley. I'm Jason with the Board Game Mechanics, and as always, keep gaming.